Hello, I'm Arizona Lawyer Julie LaBenz. Thank you so much for watching this video. My mission is to educate self-represented parties so that they can better represent themselves in court and obtain successful outcomes for them and their family. There is not a lot of education out there for self-represented parties. Now, by watching this video, I don't become your lawyer. However, this video contains legal information that you will find helpful in navigating the family court system, no matter what state you're in. I'm based in Arizona, so I often talk about Arizona law and we'll give examples based on Arizona law. But many of the things I talk about will apply no matter what state you're in. I do encourage you to interact with my channel. In the comments below, feel free to post any questions that you have so that I can utilize that information to create future videos to help answer your most pressing questions. Now, today I want to talk about those of you who are facing a chaotic family law case and the steps you can take your power back. It can be really upsetting emotionally and for your nervous system to be dealing with an ex that is constantly causing you problems, is making maybe false allegations against you, is just putting you into a tailspin and making allegations that they're going to take certain things to the court, or that you're going to get in trouble, or that they're going to win and that you're going to lose, and things like that. And especially if you have children involved, this can be very upsetting. It can be scary, and it can bring up a lot of fears because nobody knows exactly what the outcome is going to be. And if you don't have any experience with the family courts, then you don't know if these things that your ex is telling you are actually going to materialize or not. So let's today talk about ways for you to take your power back, because it's really important that you realize that you do have power in these situations, even when the power dynamic feels really skewed and that you are at the end of the spectrum where, you're just being blown in the wind and at the mercy of what the other side is doing. And my number one tip for this is for you to ground in and get really clear about what your positions are in your case. Because if you haven't taken the time to figure out what you're asking for and why, then you are very easily going to be manipulated by the other side. You're going to be constantly defending against the positions that they're taking, and that is completely exhausting. And it's really a bad strategy to adopt. So you don't want to be constantly defending against and finding ways to disprove what the other side is doing. Of course, those can be important elements of your case. But the way to position yourself, to put yourself in a position of power, is for you to have clear case positions, clarity about what you're asking the court to do and why. Why is your case and your positions in the best interest of your children, for example? What is the evidence that supports your position? Why are you asking for those things? What I find over and over again in family law cases is there's a dynamic between the two parties where one party has always called the shots. And then when they break up and the family court gets involved, this dynamic continues. And so the party that's calling the shots and has always done that historically in the relationship, they continue to call the shots. And the other side has never learned how to assert themselves. They've never learned how to put their positions first and to take a position. So it's like, it may feel very uncomfortable. You may not know what to do. And how I find this plays out is that I'll ask my client, I'll say, well, what do you want? And they'll automatically respond by framing what they want in terms of what the other side wants. And I say, no, I don't care what the other side wants. In your ideal world, what do you want? What is your parenting plan request? What is your request for the division of marital property? What is your request for the case outcome? And oftentimes they don't know what to say at that point because they have been in a relationship for so long where their wants and needs were not met, were ignored, were not even a consideration. So for those of you in that dynamic, this may feel uncomfortable, but this is why your relationship is ending. This is your opportunity to step up and start putting yourself first. And it may feel extremely uncomfortable initially, but this is what you are being called to do. And this is actually very exciting if you can start to shift your mindset around this. So when these things come up, when the other side is making claims about how they're going to prevail and you're going to lose and things like that, I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to start thinking about, okay, why are we in court? What are the issues to be decided in our case? And what is my requested outcome on each issue? Why am I requesting that? And what evidence do I have to support that? And once you start figuring those things out, that's when you can start gathering and disclosing the evidence that supports your positions. It can be helpful to take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. My side, my ex's side, parenting time, what I want, what they want, and start specifically identifying where do you have any points of agreement and where do you have points of disagreement? And on those points of disagreement, write them out and then start figuring out why is your position on those disputed points the winning position and what evidence are you going to present to prove that? And that's how you want to start thinking about your case. And then when you start getting resistance from the other side, you're in a much better position to advocate for yourself and also start deciding what is worth engaging with the other side on and what isn't. Because pointless back and forth does not move you forward in a constructive way. But if there is some engagement and dialogue going on between the two of you, ideally you can start to shift that into settlement negotiations. Where are there points where you could potentially meet in the middle to dissolve or to resolve disputed points? Where are there things that aren't disputed that you can make agreements on and get those off the table so that your case can be narrowed down and you can focus on the things that are highly disputed? That is a winning strategy rather than just being in a tailspin, being, in this position where you're constantly catering to the other side. You're constantly trying to disprove what they're saying. You're constantly trying to clear your name. You want to get out of that dynamic and start asserting your positions and your requests, and ideally transition into settlement negotiations. All right. I know this can be complex, especially if you've never engaged in this type of dynamic, but this is your opportunity to do so. And I believe in you. I know you can do this. And this is part of why your relationship is ending, because you are ready to start showing up differently and to evolve in ways where you're putting yourself and your heart first. All right, I'm Arizona Lawyer Julie LaBenz. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this helpful, I would love it if you would like this video, share it, become a subscriber, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I wish you success with your case.